What I ask of you is the easiest. Is the easiest thing. But because our habit is the opposite, it can seem like the most difficult. What I ask of you simply is just don't put yourself in any reference. Don't make any reference to yourself, or at least don't take any reference about yourself seriously. But because we are addicted to that approach of first situating ourselves in the middle of a context, and then saying, yes, this is what's happening to me. And what is the worst thing in the human condition? One of the worst things in the human condition is, I don't know what's happening to me. You have never known what's happening to you. You have never known what's happening to you. You've only grasped at these clouds called thoughts and said, this cloud is telling me what happened. This is what this means. It's as absurd as that. I'm not exaggerating. Just like what's happening to Paula right now. Just go outside, look at the clouds. Don't go, it's raining, but look at the clouds. Okay, now just whatever the clouds are telling you, that's what's happening. That's what we're doing, and we got addicted to that process, and we just feel like, and if you can't, I feel like the clouds are all confusing. 1 minute this cloud, 1 minute dark cloud, 1 minute bright. It's like, I'm just so confused. I'm just so confused. What's happening to me? I don't really know. But you have never known. At least now you come to a point of honesty. It can seem like scary, wobbly. I don't know. It's just that when we are getting rid of the addiction, then we may have some wobbliness. Like, I can't, please. What's happening to you? Like, I don't know. Yes, exactly. But you don't know, you can never know. This came out a few days back and is becoming one of my favorites. This line. You don't know, don't try to know. You can never know. You can't struggle in life then. Nothing, no mind is big enough that it can capture the essence of your life. Does that mean that you are lost to your essence? Is the essence lost to you? No, it's not. Because you are not restricted to your mind. You are not limited by your mind. It's like reading, like, when we were younger, I think Garima used to believe in everything, basically. So one day we went to, coffee cup reader. You heard of this thing?
Yeah.
We went to coffee cup reader. It was pure bunkum. And I was just like, I've always been very skeptical about everything anyway. So she just went to this coffee cup reader. This coffee cup reader is just having a sip. And there's some dregs on the coffee.
Yeah.
Oh, this pattern. This means this will happen. See? So that's what all of us are doing, like coffee cup reading in our head. We can't get it over there. See? It's just an instrument of confusion, not an instrument of recognition. See? So the great sages told us that soche soch na hoye jo soche lakhwa. You may think and think and think a million times, 100,000 times, but you will not get it by thinking. You see? So, if you will not get truth by thinking, what will you get?
By thinking.
If you will not get truth by thinking, you get lies, and because lies means you take a lie to be true long enough, you will suffer from it. Because being doesn't like to be restricted in that way with life. At least that much intelligence it plays out with. That something in your heart doesn't resonate with the limitation. So that is called suffering. You see, but we pick it up. Why? Why do you pick up a thought?
Because it's like proposing something about me, which
Yeah.
is true, which is
Yeah. And to take that proposal to be true, we think it will help us, free us from our suffering, make our condition better in some way. So then we have to situate everything in our lives. I am disciple, he is guru, this is world, I am this body, this is see all this kind of stuff, which is actually just made up. None of it is actually true. How are you without that reference? How are you without that reference? What's the problem you have? What sensation can shake you without the narrative? What is organically here in the realm of perception, which is against you, the space of perception, the space of being? Can there be such a thing? With me? Can there be such a thing? From your direct experience. What can appear, like I was telling that one in the broadcast, what can come in this room that can shake up the space of this room? So unless you are using these references, I, me, you see, I'm not talking about communication. You can still go to the restaurant and order your pasta or whatever, but if you're taking those references seriously, I. Anything you say after that, even I am actually, is ephemeral, is changing, is unreal. And once this falseness is discarded, which is super easy for you as being and impossible for you personally. You see, it is super easy for you as beingness, and it is impossible for you to do personally. You cannot put yourself in the maze and then say maze disappear. It's not going to happen. You see, you first situated yourself in that maze, no? Then it feels so difficult. Why is this so tough? You see? Why is this so tough? Because you already made that. You entered the maze. You see? And from inside the maze, no, now you should go. So don't make that stay here. Any mask you put on, you entered the maze. Any mask. Spiritual seeker mask, enlightened one mask, any worldly relationship mask, worker mask, employee mask, any reference that you take seriously. And the world is so beautiful because without these masks, whatever roles have to be played can still be played. No? You don't have to struggle with anything at all. If you're struggling, you're using the wrong instrument. See? If you're struggling, you're using the wrong instrument. You're not being intuitive, you're being mental. Struggle with your intuition and show me. Who can struggle with their intuition and show me? All this problem of clarity, blurriness, gone. Intuition doesn't get blurry or clear. It just is. Your heart doesn't have these phases and states.
No, I'm saying, because with the like in that role play, it's when you're in that intuitive thing. It's about, it's and nothing bothers you. I mean, it's so apparently there's no like separation, no like division of this and that, nothing. Yet this will be. But then you start that. It's like I see here that then because now I know that if I go there.
Okay, so this is the best time not to evaluate what happens to you then.
Okay.
But practice what I'm telling you now.
Yeah, I see.
You see, I was telling people at work yesterday, we were talking about how can we make work more like a game rather than just, because some of it inspired with all these conversations I have in Satsang. So I was just telling them most of Sunday goes for all of you because you're thinking that Monday is coming. Most people spoil half their weekend, which is Saturday, Sunday. Some people used to have only Sunday. But Sunday goes because they feel like Monday is coming tomorrow. I don't want to have the one. Ria's school is starting next week. She's already like, oh. So this is the thing. So if you're here now, you're being pointed to the highest. Then don't think about, okay, that is what afflicts me outside of satsang. This is what. Because this project is not like that. You see, when we go to doctors and consultants and other things, lawyers and things like that, then that is the project. What symptoms do you have? I don't care. Because I know there's only one problem. There's only one illness. So, empty. Now, without making reference to I thought, what's that? Is it? Now, in the mind, you may feel like, oh, I've descended into like pure dumbness. But is that your experience? Huh? You're thinking that. So, but besides the thought of that, what is your experience? So the thought may say, but without me, you're really dumb. No, so like that. But without the thought, you're still existing quite fine, quite peaceful, everything is open, you're fine. And the world doesn't stop, your heartbeat doesn't stop, your breath doesn't stop. Everything that you need to live doesn't stop. And you will notice that, like these words are coming from that same space, you will notice that communication is possible, everything is possible from that untroubled place, unharassed place. See, because you're not troubling yourself with these conceptual references to I. So to be empty of the I thought, I is not some special thought, the I thought has to go. The I thought is any reference you make to I. So don't make a fresh project, I have to get rid of the I thought. That only. Get rid of that. You don't spot these obvious things because we seem to be in the maze and then trying to solve it.
So I thought the same as the you thought?
Any reference to I, whether it is based on making a reference that way or this way, refers to I. No? If you situate a you, then you automatically situate a I, isn't it? So it just happens in that way. So I've often spoken about this. Even the most harmless seeming thoughts somehow can make a reference to you very quickly. Like I've said, the coconut is green. You did not need that thought information firstly because you can perceive all that intelligence is present in perception. But if you left it at that, then you'll be fine. Okay, coconut is green, right? But usually what happens? Oh, first I saw green coconut when I visited Kerala. Then I thought, green coconuts have very sweet water. Then I love green coconut. Very quickly the I. So we set to the fertile context for the plant of ego to grow in that way. But what's so difficult about just being empty? Except the mind will keep giving you these ideas, which basically imply that without it you are gone, you are gone case, hopeless cause. You see? But that is, so if you consider all these ones we have on the walls to be hopeless cases, I'm presuming all of us want to become hopeless like that. But you can't have half and half. Many get stuck in that trap saying, yes, I have such now presence, I have such access to my heart. I can play with the mind for a bit. What will it do? I'm only using it for practical things. What harm? I can always come back to am I aware now? Is it? Can't do it. Nobody can do it. You don't need to do it. It is just the mind has again sold you on a context, has put you back into the mold of being somebody. Who wants to juggle? You cannot outsmart your way out of this. I'll use a bit of this, I'll use a bit of that. You see? I'll use a bit of this kind of satsang, I'll use a bit of that. I'll do some self-help, I'll do some this thing, and then perfect. Perfect what? Still person. Still person. So stop striving for perfection. Drop all strife. Drop all strife. It's like God is sitting in your heart as you, and you are saying, how can I become the perfect human? Realizing, how can I become the perfect robot or something? You don't need that stuff. It's available, it's present, it's your very presence. And you are aware even of this. Do you feel like you can handle it without giving yourself a story? You can handle it having no story? None at all. Like right now, you have no story. Before the sound of the click, you have no story. But your presence is unaffected. Your awareness is unaffected. What's the difficulty now? What's the trouble? Do you feel it's possible to live like this? Do you feel it's possible to live like this? Or do you feel you've lost something of value? Because if there is even a doubt that I may have lost something of value, you will keep going back to that oscillation, that oscillating mode. A bit of this, little bit of that, little bit of heart. Little bit of God, little bit of devil, it'll all work out. It'll all work out, is true. But if you're enjoying the ride, then it's fine. But most of you very quick to suffer also. Because you become so sensitive to suffering. Very quick to. Very quick to notice that. Whereas for a regular person on the streets may take a long time to admit that they are suffering. After tasting your highest, the slightest thing can seem. But to use that just an alarm clock to wake up. Wake up. Don't want anything in this world. don't want anything in this world. This world is only in service to you. The only reason, if we at all can give it a reason for the world, is for it to be in service to you. The only reason for the creation of the movie is for the watcher of the movie. There is no other reason. So don't go chasing in the world. The world is chasing you. Everything that you need is fully available on offer. You see? But this is not marketing for open and empty. But I tried open and empty. Where's the $1 billion I wanted? It's not like that. But open and empty. You see, everything that you want money because it gives you peace, it gives you space, it gives you joy. But that is already available to you. You want relationship because you feel it completes you. And there's no bigger bunkum than that. But thank you for this word, by the way. I find myself using it a lot. I don't get credit for that. There's no bigger nonsense that I find another bundle of flesh and blood. One bundle is difficult enough to disidentify with. They want another bundle to say, this is mine. You see, he is mine, she is mine. And then life will be better. You see, there's no bigger nonsense in that. And by the way, as I'm saying all of this, I'm not saying that all these things cannot play out in life. All these roles can still play out in life. I'm not saying you go and retire in a cave or something. You see, that kind of escapism from the world is not needed. You just need to drop your belief in your next thought, your identification with your next thought. So all that the world has to offer is already made only for you. You see, who else is there for it to be made for? But if you go chasing, then the world loves to play this game of the dog chasing his tail. Keep chasing. Don't play that game. Just inwardly be completely still. Be completely still inwardly, even if there is full activity happening. And it's completely possible. Completely possible. So the last 2 days I had full activity at work. Had some 7-8 meetings yesterday. Met all the employees in small groups. Then I had leaders meeting today. Various things. Everything. But not from a place of, don't need to get into the place of personhood. You need to get into personality and say, oh, damn. Allow it to flow. Nothing. So you've seen that which you will categorize as work life, practical life, and you've seen that what you would categorize as satsang life, the life of a master. You've seen both in the play of the life of Ananta, and I'm telling you with full integrity that both happen from the same openness, the same emptiness. So if I am living untroubled, why would I not want all my children to live untroubled? It's just so simple. Where do we get stuck? We get stuck with trying to figure things out. We're trying to understand. We're trying to fix things, non-existent problems. Trying to resolve life. You've seen life play. No? By now, all of us, at least that much maturity we have, we've seen life play, and it can play like a crazy typhoon which you can't control. Isn't it? So, and what is our idea? That I will think up some stuff which is going to control this, what shows up in front of me. It's never going to happen. Never going to happen. You're not going to have, from a personal space, from a personal identification, you will not have a smidge of control over any perception that comes. Not going to have at all. So then you can decide, and it really is your choice as consciousness, whether you're going to keep trying that nonsensical endeavor or whether you're going to drop it and just enjoy what shows up. You can choose to suffer from the apparent lack of control, which is only a symptom of misidentification, or you can choose to just let go and enjoy the movie because it's been crafted perfectly. There is no problem in the movie. The only problem is in our belief, in our identification. So you as consciousness have the full power to choose which way you want to play. Some of it will continue, like when I look around in the room, sometimes it's still like we're trying to lock in like that, and that's fine. It's because it's a habit, and we are in the rehab because we at least recognize the habit, and that we recognize the habit is not serving us. You see, which is 99.9% of the job. So for most of humanity, they're still in the belief that their identity is serving them. Who are they without their identity is like a scary notion. In fact, the whole job in most of the world is to become something. But does God want to become something? So if you grasp at anything, including freedom, just forget about it. How much me can you carry into freedom? Me, not Ananta me. How much meanness can you carry into freedom? How much of the me that you love so much that you cannot drop? Who are you serving in this process? Who are you serving in this process?
All in service to the self.
So if there's a me, like many times it may happen that you could spend like 20 years in Satsang and hear everything and understand a lot of it. But you don't really understand what the real game is. Because we're still playing the me game. Yes, I come to Satsang. I feel like I come to Satsang. But then when I first started coming to Satsang, it was like that. Then now coming to Satsang, like this. We play this, like we could play this for centuries and lifetimes. And maybe we have. So is this it now? Is this it now? If you're looking at everything through the lens of me, and we feel like that is the only way, and what I'm sharing is not as if it's a blame or something. I'm just trying to push you out of that construct, push you out of that construct of taking everything as if it is about just me. The truth is close to that, but it's really far from that. Everything is about you, but in a very different way. So really, satsang, it sounds a bit strong, of course, but really satsang is so that we can get over ourselves. Yes, we can get over ourselves. We've said it to friends, we've said it to relationships very often. Oh, you better get over yourself. Like that. But it's now time for us to get over ourselves. Just like, get over. You said, in whatever different way, this may not be like a common phrase to use in our language, but in some way or the other we've said, grow up, snap out of it, get over yourself. So, get over yourself is to drop all the charades, all the facades, all the masks, everything has to go. Everything has to go. And you cannot do it effortfully. It's not that you cannot do anything about it. It's not that you cannot do anything about it. It's that you cannot do it effortfully. Can you meet this? Because we can't do it. Like when we say something, you can't do it. What you're saying is you can't do it effortfully. You can't take steps. You can't make a movement towards this. But you can be open and empty. You can remain in the unborn. You can have a notionless existence. So the tip is that if you're making a strategy, if you're making tactics, if you're making a plan, and if you're tracking progress, still playing the wrong board game. Yeah. Like I'm playing life, you're playing Monopoly. It's not going to work. I never actually played life. Somebody told me about this board game just yesterday. So if you go into like an introspection and ask yourself, what is this really about? Right? Or what do I really want? And if you notice that there is a smell of me, then just, you don't have to say anything, you don't have to expose anything, just bring that to your own light and let it dissolve, let it dissipate. What is it that I truly want? Or what is all of this for? What is it about? Are we still making this personal in some way? Do we have an idea that our freedom will be personal? Our relationship will be personal? If there's some notion like that, just shine it in your life. like that. No hard work needed. No reference to context. No meaning making. No buying any idea of any pretext. The story so far is this, and then I came to Satsang. Not like that. Just chop up all of that and throw it away. Any of this pretext only allows you to build a narrative, a continuing narrative. Can you start a narrative from open and empty? Once I was open and empty. Yeah? Isn't it? So this is my game. This is my game. Which game are we playing together? What's the story so far? One subtle tip for all of you: don't allow the mind to change where the pointing is pointing. The pointing is pointing at it. You see? It will in a way try to deflect it towards a feeling that is coming, some actions that play out. You see? It is about none of that. Just about that. The thought which proposes that you are something. Don't allow it to say, no, just no, it's not that. Don't allow it to say, this, because you did like that, you said like that. It's not about any of that. Just about the proposal of lies and about your belief in that lie. It is only about that. Don't allow your mind to deflect it into anything else. You'll say it's about action. You better change the way you are. You're not devoted enough. You're not worthy enough. Not about that. It's about that. This voice which proposes. We can't do this in a city environment. We need to be in a jungle, somewhere. It's not about that. I can't do this while I'm in this relationship. It's not about that. I can't do this while I have a job. I need to just focus on this. It's not about that. It's only about one thing. The false proposal that you are something and your acceptance of that, therefore misidentification. That's the only thing that this is about. I notice very often that the mind successfully is able to divert you from looking at it to some other nonsensical thing in the world or in the body or some action or something. It's not about any of that. The addiction is only to this misbelief, to this wrong identification that I am something, that I am taking myself to be something. It's only about that. It's not about how you are with the Sangha, with your friend, with your relationship. It's not about anything else. Never about anything else. And if I am chopping, I'm only interested in chopping that. I have no other intention, no other interest. Only that. We have grown out of our innocence, and therefore regressed. We have grown out of our innocence and therefore regressed. So we have lost our innocence, and my only interest is to bring you back to that innocence. The loss of innocence is the only hell, and to regain it is the only heaven. When there is innocence, there is openness. When there is conceptual knowledge, fake knowledge, there is a closeness. This is what this is what I am, this is what the world is. That is the I thought. So whatever else you may think it is about, please throw it away. It's all nonsense. Like, I don't care about it and you should not care about it. Whatever else you may think it's about. It's only about the next thought that is going to come. It's going to propose some nonsense to you about you. If you buy it, you're in the addiction. If you don't buy it, you're getting free from the addiction. That's all. So don't allow your head to tell you, no, it's not me. Look at that feeling you're having. That has to go. You know that happens to you, that stuff that happens to you, it's about that. No, it's not about that. It's about this thought. With me? Because when I'm pointing as directly as this, the thought can sometimes also go, ooh, ooh, ooh. It's like when young, no, and I didn't want to listen to my mom. I just closed my ear. Ooh, I can't hear. So that's why it plays that game in your head. Ooh. But here it's going to be repeated relentlessly. That is going to be heard. You can't avoid it being in Satsang. Do hear this. So is it about fixing your prana shakti? No. Is it about awakening the chakras? No. Is it about making the body feel light and open? No. Is it about the non-experience of fear or anger or lust or any of that? No. Is it about only feeling joy and bliss? No. It's about none of those things which spirituality is marketed with. All those things may happen as byproducts or may not happen. It doesn't matter to me at all. You may come to me with all your chakras open, and you may come to me with no chakra open. I will share the same thing with both of you. It doesn't matter to me. All these chakras are also in the chakra. Your reality is beyond anything that is changeful, beyond anything that comes and goes. If it is something that came, it is not really of interest to me. Because I am also aware that it will go. But if it is present in all four states of your reality, if it is untouched by death and birth, tell me about that.
four states?
Waking, sleep, dream, turiya.
Okay. I'm not sure the Turiya I'm trying to look at.
Somewhere better not to know. The more spirituality you know, the more trouble it causes. You have to tell me actually, because I don't know. Are you now still situating yourself in like a conceptual construct? Are you able to spot these things now? You're able to spot the mind's proposal, no? It says, this is. So don't buy into them. I'm not saying the proposals have to stop coming. It doesn't matter how much traffic there is. But you don't create a relationship with it. You are free. You are free. That's about it basically. When the police is chasing the thief, what does the thief do? He'll take a stone and throw it so some noise comes from there. So police, it's there. Create some distraction, diversion. First you fix that. Police says, like that. So don't get misled by it. The trickster is only the mind, and the mind is only a bundle of thoughts. This is the whole syllabus of Satsang. The only problem is the mind, and the mind is nothing but a bundle of thought. That's it. The rest, insight, awareness, consciousness, the play of the universe, all of that is already apparent to you and can be spoken for your joy, but not as a teaching or something you have to learn or understand. So is the mind my thoughts? Yes. Is it all thoughts? Yes. Do I need to buy into any narrative? No. As true as it may seem? Yes. In fact, the more true it seems, the more you have to drop. Don't go with anything that seems. What seems true? What seems true? Just drop it. Admit that you don't know. If you don't expect this plant to know, then you also don't know. That's it. That's the only practice, the only sadhana, the only achievement. That's it. You have to open that door because there seems to be this pesticide. At least these fumes can. Although it's meant to be like Ayurvedic, this pesticide. Doesn't smell like it. You can see?
Yes.
The only problem is,
About me.
huh?
What about me?
The mind. No? The mind. And the mind is only a bundle of thoughts.
Sometimes I feel it's that, like you just said, I want to be something. You don't realize that when you start getting into that trouble situation. There's still that feeling that I want to be something and I want to be right and I want, like you said, if you don't want anything, you just get into that shaky, that slippery kind of thing and you just become that someone somewhere.
Yeah.
And-
So
Huh?
I've simplified all of this for you.
Yeah.
The only trouble is,
Now I'm trying to make a strategy out of it not to do that.
so the only trouble is, I feel like becoming one of those like 5th standard school teachers. Repeat after me. बच्चों,
The only problem is believing that.
मेरे बात बोलो. Why my Hindi has become so bad? मेरे पीछे बोलो. What is it?
Repeat, the English में है.
Because some of these things are more fun and
Yeah.
the only trouble is what?
Believing that.
Did they do the pesticide spray outside? That's why it's all confusing. Hello. So the thief has the propensity to distract you and has some mastery in that. So he will say, no, it's not me, little old me, thoughts. Thoughts are not doing anything. It's just the feeling you're having, it's so constricted. That constriction is the ego. Destroy that and you are free. The trouble is, the master doesn't like you. He doesn't feel like you're gonna get this. Just distraction tactics, just diversion tactics. That which is proposing the unreality as if it is your gospel truth. That itself proposes that I am not the problem. See, like the thief, which will never confess to the crime. I am not the problem. See, fix your life, fix your relationship, fix your money situation, fix your body. After that, freedom. And while all of this is going on in the head, who's sitting in our heart? Whose presence is this? Doesn't matter what word you call it, but it is the highest force and the only being in the universe. Doesn't matter if you call it God or consciousness or Atma, Paramatma. There are no distinctions. But while we are playing this game of who's at my door, God is waiting in your living room. That is the irony of the human situation. Our mind has the ability to ask big questions. Why am I here? What is the purpose of life? Can't assimilate an answer. Cannot assimilate. It's just a basket of concepts. See, like Bhagavan said, a bundle of thoughts. So we have been trying to feed it an answer that is palatable to it, but it has no mouth. It is just a basket. And this is the cause of strife. So we may settle for a conceptual framework and say, my life is like this is just Atma is connected to Paramatma, and then this is what is happening in the Maya, then Leela plays like this. You see, we may think we have it all figured out here, you see, but when life gives a slap, all this is the first to leave us, no? All Atma, Paramatma, Bhagavan, all gone. Fight mode. Game on. You see, that's all like that. You see? Because it is only conceptual. But when we meet it in the heart, you see, that is when the true meeting can happen. So it doesn't matter what bundles of spirituality you've collected so far. It doesn't matter to me if he's come with 50 years of spiritual experience or this is his first satsang ever. It doesn't matter to me. Because the heart is one. The heart is the same. And the heart is not a bundle of emotion. That is the usual concept of the heart. The heart is the supreme intelligence of your being. The essence of your presence. Is it too bothersome, this thing? This?
Maybe it's just the fan on the back of it.
You want to go out for a bit in the terrace, or it's okay?
You want to? Should we open these cycles?
If you feel it'll help you, sure. Or will some circulation happen if you put the AC on for a bit?
No.
It should.
Yeah, because the air could.
It could circulate.
So
Don't shut the door.
Should we not shut the door?
It will still have the.
Otherwise.
No, it's okay. So Bhagavan has told us clearly that till I am, there is no problem. But when we take I am to be I am something, that's the doorway to suffering. Now if I am had no choice in the matter, then Bhagavan would not have pointed that. Like, what should I do? I am takes itself to be I am something. Oh, this is good information. But I am is consciousness, and consciousness is the light of this universe. And everything happens by only the will of consciousness. If there is such a thing as happening and doing, only consciousness can do. So don't fall into that trap that, oh, but yeah, identification happens. What can I do? Oh, little old me. I don't even exist. What can I do about it? This is what happens when you mix like person and Advaita. It's very toxic. We've all heard, no? Like going to Thiru, going to Rishikesh, we meet so many who are just like personal Advaita, conceptual Advaita. I'm not the doer. Yeah? I just showed up in the chai shop and the chai was ordered. Yeah. And all very nice sounding words, but they smell of ego. Very nice, beautiful sounding. If they came from the heart, it's just so beautiful. It's just like, Bhagwan's grace only called me here. I've spent 50 years with Bhagwan. So beautiful it can be. No? But mostly it just smelly stuff. It's just, so conceptual Advaita is the worst, most boring, most irritating thing. Huh? Agree. And you will only sound like a spiritual jerk if you're just spouting concepts that you have not assimilated in your heart, but you're just speaking them just conceptually because you read in the book, or Maharaj had said this thing, or Bhagwan had said this thing, or Guruji says this thing, you see, or Ananta says this. Nobody wants to know. Nobody cares. But can you speak from your own life? And if that resonates with the words of the sages and you're using them as pointers, then that is fine. So please don't use what you hear in satsang for some debates and arguments and, I am more spiritual than you and you are coming from person, I am coming from heart, all this nonsense. Too noisy? This is helping. We can shut the doors. So don't take the words of Advaita as if they are true. I am not speaking any truth, I am speaking complete nonsense. You see? But the attempt or the intent is to point you to that which I have discovered through Guruji's grace. So if you come to satsang and make a theory out of this, I'll not allow it firstly because I will contradict myself enough. So you just, but didn't he just say? So don't struggle with that stuff. Every moment you're being pointed to something, just follow along with the innocence of a child as much as you can. Not like a spiritual practitioner who's now coming to increase their understanding. So many of you have come like that, and I've just chop. No, initially you can feel like, and I'm so grateful that you continue to come, because initially you can feel a bit like, I came so I could understand. No, you didn't come so that you could understand. Understand? No. So that can feel a bit disorienting initially, but if you can go through that wobble, then what I'm pointing to is very apparent. The highest discovery in the human condition is fully apparent to you if you don't meet it through the lens of your mind, if you meet it through the lens of your intuitive insight. But your mind is a constructor of frameworks, a constructor of conceptual understanding, and I want to just demolish all of them because none of them you actually know anything about. Like, you may say, oh, all of this is Maya. Really? You know this? No, but this one said. It doesn't matter who said what. You know this? Is it? So don't rest on any second-hand information, second-hand food. Assimilate for yourself. It doesn't matter. You may use your own terminology. Many of you are going to share this. You may use your own language. You may use your own terminology. You may not, or you may or may not use any of the popular notion. There is no such thing as Maya. There is no such thing as Leela. There is no such thing as world. There is no such thing as consciousness. There is no such thing as awareness. All of these are words that we use, you see, and we use them to point in a particular direction. So they are the signifiers, and all of them have our own idea of what the signified is. Shall I say this again? So these are nothing but signifiers, no? They're signifiers. Now you may come, he's like first time I'm seeing him in Satsang, so he may say, consciousness, that. I had that experience one time, it was like that, consciousness. Another may say, consciousness, oh, Bhagavan said, oh, Maharaj said beingness, I'll be with this. Yeah, another one may say, so there is no actual thing like consciousness. It all is being used in satsang to point you in a particular way. And that is why to get clarity and get to the same dictionary is very important initially, because I may be talking about awareness for 5 years and you've been thinking about attentiveness during those 5 years. Because in the world mostly awareness is used as attentiveness. No? So that is why it's important to relentlessly point, and for me to demolish any dictionaries that you may be building up, so I can point you fresh and open. I want to serve you fresh soup, not some stale soup from last century. So you're not here, or even if you came here by mistake for that, but you're not here to expand your spiritual encyclopedia. You're here to burn it. Or at least I will chase you around till I burn it for you. Because God is not to be found in your spiritual encyclopedia. God is to be found in your heart. And your heart is not the spiritual aspect of your mind. Like some of us, we just feel like, oh, intuition, yes. So the mind itself talks all the spirituality it has heard, but it talks also, it'll try to imitate, father, like, my dear child, this is not happening to you, son of the but you can smell it now. All of you have the noses now that you can smell it. You can smell whether it is from the heart or not. And anyway, I've given you a fail-safe tool. You know you are in the heart if what you are is apparent to you. You know you are following your heart only if you are clear that what you are is apparent to you. Take everything else to be the mind. As I share satsang, what I am is apparent to you. So that's why many times I make this references which sound very strange, no? As I say, this boy sitting here sharing all this kind of stuff. Because what I am is apparent to me now, and yet these words are flowing out. You see? So if it is possible to share satsang from here, it is possible to go to work from here, then it is possible for everyone. So this is what I mean by saying live like this. Live like this where your truth is just so apparent. You don't have to think about it. I am being, I am consciousness, I am awareness. You see? Not like that. Are you aware now? Is it not apparent that that is your true nature? Do you discover it as if it is a conceptual discovery? E is equal to mc square. Is that how awareness is found? Do you discover it because you see a dark empty space? That must be awareness. Is it like that? You see? What is witnessing even that? What is aware even of that? Now from here, allow everything to flow. This is to live in the heart. Is there any separation here? Is there a me and a you? Anybody found a me? You? Duality? So this is Advaita. You don't have to get into any debates. Shankara said this and this one said that. What is Advaita? It's simple. It's apparent. Are there any one or two? No two, but is there a one? Not even a one. Is it a zero? No. Maybe our conceptual mind may be empty, which is called zero or shunyata. But that shunyata leads to a recognition of that which is all there is. I'm going to come closer. Usually I speak so, I don't know, these days I can't say that, no? I was going to say usually I speak so softly that at the back you may not hear. These days mostly lion mode is on. So, who wants to report not about a distraction that you are having or a diversion that you are experiencing, but a report about that which is beyond time, which is beyond space? What is the report from there?
I'm feeling that I can feel the light right from when I wake up.
Yeah.
When I'm in satsang, the presence is so strong that it's like almost like overwhelming. But basically from waking up, that feeling that you're in touch with the light. So at least your perception is sensitive enough that it's tuned into the light, which is always there. But my antenna wasn't the radio wasn't on the wrong station.
Yeah.
But now at least it's tuned into that station. That's ever present.
Yes.
It also feels like the sensations of the body, which I've taken to be a constant, also change shape. Even sometimes disappear, which is a pointer that it's synthetic.
Yes.
So some kind of internal construct as opposed to an absolute. so what's constant throughout the waking state is the light, which is. I have to only think about it as sometimes it feels extremely strong, sometimes it feels very subtle, but its presence is always there. The awareness itself, the awareness knows all this. Recognition is only from awareness. There's still a search to find the awareness. I don't know,
There is still a search.
There's a search to find. While there's a knowing that the awareness can only know. Awareness is knowing this only. In other words, how should I put it? What is known.
Is there
the seeker of the and
is there like a
all
doubt?
awareness.
Is there a doubt about what you are discovering as awareness, whether that is truly awareness, or how can you search for that which is apparent?
I know it's apparent. It's apparent.
Okay, so how does it play
because
out?
it's non-phenomenal. There's always this, well, even I would say the presence is. It's now phenomenally. I would say somehow it's recognized as. It's something that I'm perceiving, and so I know that I'm aware of it.
No, this is inferring now. So, are you aware now? Now, what you're saying in some way, and correct me if I'm not, if I'm reading this wrong. What you're saying in some way is that yes, it's apparent I'm aware, but my head is not convinced. But your head will never be convinced.
So, may I just maybe add something?
Yeah.
When I answer the question, yes, I am aware.
Yeah.
At that moment, the whole frame of perception seems to suddenly very very widen. In that, if ask myself the question, I had a certain frame when I say I am aware. I suddenly feel like there's great altitude and space to to where the answer is coming from. I can report that. So there's a shift in terms of.
Okay, how does it shift back down then?
Maybe these are thoughts. Maybe it's a subtle
It's
thought.
good to observe like this because we may feel like it sort of has a mechanics of recognition, but there are no mechanics to intuitive recognition. The difference between conceptual or perceptual recognition and intuitive insight is that there are no steps or processes. So instantly, you see, are you aware now? Yes now? So we don't even have to wait for anything to shift in the realm of perception. It doesn't matter. You see, it could be like looking at a donkey or looking at the most beautiful, like, I don't want to sound blasphemous, but it doesn't matter. So you could be looking at anything, but your awareness remains unchanged.
And now I'm imagining the blasphemous.
The most beautiful idol of God or something. Or, I don't know what. I know your Punjabi imagination.
Yeah, something.
That's stop you
Something
right.
else.
I'm going to stop you right there. But it's true. The fact is that even even if you take your imagination to be what is blasphemous, even that is true, because you are aware. Anything can show up in the realm of perception, and yet you are aware, independent of that. And then it is also apparent to you that that is your highest reality, that is your unchanging reality, because everything else changes. Like often I say that to expect stability from a constantly changing world is as if you tie yourself to a drunk donkey and saying, I want my life to be peaceful now. It's not going to happen. So stability is only possible in the reality, the unchanging reality of what you are. It doesn't matter what imagery the world is showing up.
even the like most intimate feelings or experiences or sensations, like some sleepiness and tiredness came now. So, but I see that there's these thoughts coming, interpreting them like I'm not aware. I'm not being aware because of that, because I'm sleepy, because of that. But I'm see that happening. So it puts me like out of it.
Very good. So this is exactly what I meant, that because in the world we use awareness to mean attentiveness. So because your attention is sort of like that, it's sort of resting in a source, attention, and yet your awareness is unchanged. Awareness remains unchanged. Even the movement of attention in this way, where the vibrant world is being perceived with full attention, and suddenly very boring satsang is happening, which is getting into some very Vedantic stuff, and like that you can notice the attention springing back. It's like the spring, it was open, now it's springing, and then so it's back. But what happened to awareness in this process? Nothing. So once in satsang, we used to play the aarti when satsang started, the broadcast satsang, and it was very early in the morning or something. I had slept at 3 a.m. or something, so aarti was going on, and I went. But for awareness, all this is witness. Otherwise, you could not report that I went to sleep. In the absence of phenomena, awareness is aware of, is witnessed by awareness. So you don't have to, if you can do more of it or less of it, it is not awareness. That's the tip. Like you cannot be more aware. Many are trying to be more aware. Even spiritual teachers are saying you should become more aware. They're talking about attention, and that's fine. They can use the word the way they want, but don't confuse that with the awareness that we are talking about. And here really I have no problem with you sleeping. At least in sleep you don't trouble yourself. You can't in deep sleep. Except when you play the game. Then like, don't meditate, don't sleep, look. What else? So don't try to fulfill a quest from your mind for the truth, because your mind will not be satisfied with this. It cannot feed. You cannot feed the truth to the mind. It's a bundle of concepts. You see? So don't because the self is not objective. So you will not have the darshan of something. Oh, that is the self. You see? It was everywhere. Like that. And then it's just like we want to live the rest of our life in that state. These things may happen, like in awakening experiences, and sometimes you become like that for some time, but that is not it. Like you are not discovering this in the awakening experience. You are discovering everything. Your body may be reacting to what you are discovering in that way, but that has nothing to do with it. You could be like completely sober, outwardly, completely having a very sober discovery. Yeah. But I've always known this. You could have like that, or you could be where am I? What's happening? Like, both are awakening experiences with equal validity. There's nothing that so many are waiting to have some sort of like meltdown or something. You see, that happens fine. If it doesn't happen, fine. It doesn't have to be this way or that way. Are you aware now? Did you see this awareness? Are you just thinking you are aware? Is there anything else you can discover without having to think or perceive? And you cannot come to this discovery in two different ways, because the non-qualitative cannot have any distinction or difference. So it doesn't matter what type of spirituality, how much meditation, how much whatever. Ultimately the discovery is this: you are the unchanging witness of all that appears and disappears. And you cannot be found in any objective way. You're not going to find yourself as an object. So how to search in a non-objective way? Like all of us call ourselves spiritual seekers. How to spiritually seek?
Seeking seems to be the problem actually.
Exactly. So we're using the wrong instrument. If we've started the quest, we've already gone in the wrong direction. Is there a valid mechanism of spiritual search? We should ask this question first, no? When we come into any form of spirituality, we say, okay, we are spiritual seekers, how do I search? No? And say, oh, but then you meditate first. No? But then, how do I search? What is the search in meditation? What is the search? You do your Hatha Yoga first. You awaken the Kundalini first. You do all of this first. What is the search? What is the mechanism of the search? With what way can I find the Nirguna reality? Through which mechanism?
Listening to you.
Huh?
Listening to you.
Is what? Listening to intuition. It's listening to the intuitive presence, which is the Sadguru presence, the Master's presence. It is the same thing. So just that. What is the mechanism? Is to find yourself intuitively. We feel like we have only two modes of knowledge. Is it? Thinking and perceiving. You see, everybody feels like this is the only way, and that's why the spiritual search seems to take so long, lifetimes. You see? Imagine looking for something. First, they tell you that everything that changes is Maya. Yeah? Then they tell you must search for the truth. How to do it? Because the tools that I have can only show me perceptions. Then some may feel like it is possible through knowledge. You see? So, yes, but I know Aham Brahmanasmi. I know. You see? So, but maybe what is missing then? Maybe I'm not convinced. You see? So, you feel like maybe I'm not convinced. So, I will spend my life convincing myself I am Brahman, I am Brahman, I am Brahman, I am Brahman. And till I'm like fully convinced I am Brahman, till then my quest is not over. You see? But this is not it. You can have any concept like that, like you've been having, I am human, I am human, I am human, I am man, I am man. You see? You can convince yourself in that way. But any concept will not lead to this. You see? But hardly anybody tells you that there's another mode of knowledge. Some oblique, vague references are made to intuition from time to time, or to the heart from time to time. But most spiritualists who talk about the heart are talking about, I love you, I love, which is okay. But the heart that I'm speaking of is beyond that. No? It's where yourself is realized, is recognized. This hardly anyone talks about. Hardly anyone in traditional spirituality I've seen talks about this. That's why I love Swami Satchidanandendra Saraswati so much, because although his language is very academic and painful to read, but he is saying clearly, don't trust the words even if they are from the higher scripture. In your intuition, the truth is recognized, and he points out the verses from Vedanta which point to this. There's hardly anybody but in this way. How do you discover that you are aware? How long did I trouble all of you with this question? And how does it seem so natural for everyone who's come later? Like for weeks I've asked, how do you know that you are aware? How do you know that you are aware of the perception of this hand? I went on with this for a long time. So I should not just presume that the rest who will come after that are just getting it. See?
So apparent.
Yeah, and it used to bother everyone. When I used to say it's so apparent, the highest truth is most apparent to you. तुम्हें होगा मुझे
The pointing is needed.
to deconstruct the nonsense, to clean up the garbage. Pointing is needed because we have been pointed in the wrong direction. To as if we are something object oriented, like we are the body mind organism or something. So the pointing is needed to clean up that misunderstanding. But otherwise, empty is good enough. How do you know that you are aware of the perception of this hand? I should ask all of you that I didn't trouble so much for weeks. That it is you that is aware. How do you know? Huh? Just know? What is just know? It's just a belief? What is just know? Do you perceive yourself? I feel like you're getting it so easily now. Independent of perceptual knowledge and conceptual knowledge, you are discovering your intuitive insight very effortlessly. What is so troublesome about these things? Maybe some of the older ones can tell you. I remember we used to have like some fire with this, no? This kind of, this one.
I think the thing is that the approach was always from the mind, that the mechanism to find out how. But when you later told us that it's intuitive, and actually we shouldn't be using the mind.
I feel like I started emphasizing that aspect which I used to feel in the expression was very obvious already. Then I noticed because there seemed to be a struggle, so then I felt like first clarify which instrument you're going to use.
I feel that for me, is that like, because you heard in your head that you're not this, you're not this. So you felt that what you naturally knew, you're not. But you just kept telling us, but isn't it you who's seeing? And then you're just forced to say yes, innocently, yes, it's me. And then that question, so that cleared that idea, I'm not their personal self, and all that terminology, nonsense, jargon. So you say, tell me, and the innocent will chat, is there somebody else? No, it's me, and I always knew it's me. But the clinch is that how do you know it's you?
Yes.
That, how do I know it's me? Is where you know that you
At your mind, your mind cannot help you at all. How do you know it is you? Do you see this you? Do you perceive such a you that is aware of the perception of the hand? Can you perceive that one? So we'll go slowly, I know that. So you are aware of the perception of this hand?
Because I'm seeing it.
Yes, you are, no? So, but that you, can that be seen? That you that sees it? Yes. And you don't see it, and yet you conclude it is I, no? How do we conclude that? On what basis? In the world you need a basis, no? Like seeing is believing, they say. So do you see such a I sitting there inside the head somewhere or something? And yet it is so natural to conclude it is I. So what is that basis of that natural conclusion? Is it like the glass is aware of the perception of this hand? So I see the glass, so I say yes, the glass and the hand. You see, is it like that? So one end of it is clear, which is the hand. What is on the other end? That which you call I. And that you is the most important for you. No? You see? So what is that? You see? Is it like that? What do you see? A glass there? Do you see a mirror there? Do you see some dark empty space there? Who's sitting there? You see, it has no shape. It has no color. It has no size. It has no quality. Everybody knows this in their heart. But nobody can know this in their head. You may have these concepts, yeah, it has no size. So, but those are not relevant. That's self-recognition. That's it. Nobody else, there is no other way to recognize the self. No, you cannot have a way where somebody says, yes, I did see something over there, that was me. There was a silhouette of a ghost. Which looked like a centipede or something, I don't know what. You cannot. You just can't find it in any other way than this sightless looking, than this sightless inside. It's as simple as that. That is self-discovery. That is self-discovery. So if we are in spirituality for self-discovery, it's available. If you are here to make the person free, forget about it. Forget about it. You might as well try to make a mongoose fly or something, rather than try to make the person free. The other trick the mind will then use is that, yes, awareness is aware of the perception. But how does that help me? So it still inserts the false personhood into that. What you are discovering is that you are that awareness. Like Bhagavan said, awareness is your name. So you are that awareness. You don't have a relationship with awareness that it should do something for you or help you. There is no such you. That other you doesn't exist. And the being that shows up in the light of which this universe shines is just the aspect of you. It's the amness aspect of you. I is the same. I am in as I am. And God said I am. It says in the Bible, God said I am. Atma, the primordial vibration, Om. All cultures make references to it in some way or the other. It's the same. Now, I am is here. Let it be unharassed, unmolested by the mind. Be open and empty. That is to be free. Then there will be moments where you find yourself getting caught up that, oh no, I am this one, I have to do, I have to desire, I have to, all of this nonsense will come, you'll buy into it, of course, in the human condition, everybody buys into it. You see? Then, when you notice it, snap out of it. Most of you can snap out of it now. There will be some situations in life, like, I was going to say a number like once a month, where, you see, but then you start expecting it to happen once a month. Or if it's happening more often, then you feel like, I must be really deluded. So don't worry about what that number is. So suppose this happens once in a while, where you feel like so caught up that you're not able to snap out of it, not able to get open and empty. You see? Then what happens? Usually it's a question of the 3 Ds. No? I've talked about the 3D ego. The first D is the duality. There is a me and there is the world, or there are others. That duality. You see, but that duality by itself is not, the mind is not saying there are two of you, there are two. No, this is not troubling you like that. It's troubling you the outcome of taking that duality to be real. You see, what is the outcome of taking that duality to be real? Because you put yourself in a limited construct for there to be two. You see, you put yourself in a limited definition, but somewhere you are not happy with being limited because your true nature is unlimited. You see, so what is desire? The desire is the mind's attempt to replicate the mind, to replicate God. You see, the mind's attempt to replicate God by getting everything and making it mine. You see, so you become God-like according to the mind. Mind is like, I can do it. You see, all there is, yes, make enough money. You can own this house, you can own the building, you can own the city, you can own everything is mine. You see, so desire. So that is the second D. Because what you find of yourself when you take yourself to be limited is very small compared to your reality, then the mind gives you desire, saying, okay, if you had that, you would be more complete. Find the perfect soulmate, you will be complete. You see, have you met perfect soulmates after 5 years? Boom, no chance. So all this nonsense, desire. Then once you say, yes, if I only had this, then I'd be happier. My life would be better. All of that. That is desire. No? My current set of perceptions and what I own in these perceptions is not enough. I need more. That is desire. You see? That leads to the third D, which is, what can I do to get it? Doership. You see? So duality, desire, doership. This is what makes up the ego. Now if there was no duality, there is no separation, what can you desire? What can you wish? I just wish. What? You are all there is already. You see, that's the end of desire. Now if everything is, there is no duality, there is no separation, what is it that you are doing or can do? The actions of one body are yours and everything else is God's, is it? So we get stuck in some convoluted spirituality, which is like, yes, God is everywhere. God is doing all of this. But there's a God plus me, because I have to decide what to do. So if God is everywhere, then God is only doing. Where is the space for me? So in conceptual Advaita, this is the mistake that people make. They say there is a me, but that me is not the doer. That me is not the doer, it's little old experiencer. Little old me, what can I do? I'm just like a chair that God pushes around. Why are you doing this to me, God? So they become lamenters like that. You only the doer, why are you doing this to me? See, but if God is everywhere, in which room do you stay? If God is everywhere, then in which room do you stay? So both cannot be true. So either God is not everywhere, God is everywhere but me. And then we have this nonsense about giving up our doership but not giving up our experiencership. So don't get into that game at all. Open and empty. Here is the problem. Where is the confusion about identity? Is it not apparent? How can this be rare? How can self-recognition be rare? It's just so obvious. It's only rare because very few admit or just agree to get over themselves. So It's just then everything, all this becomes an experience that the me is having. The me comes back into the picture. Yeah, that was good satsang. I feel like I should go more often. It's okay. Or I feel, really, who? What are you talking about? You just discovered that you are this pure awareness. Now this narrative is whose? So these are the tricks I've noticed the mind plays with all of you that come to satsang. Like, I don't feel like the insight is difficult. I don't feel like the insight is difficult at all. It is to not buy into this conditioning which comes as a humble friend and says, yeah, I feel like I'm good, I feel like one satsang was good, it's all clear here, now I should just rest with this, but whose tactics are those? And how often do we hear them as a sangha, as a master? You hear them constantly. This is what I feel I should do now. Don't buy into any of that. Don't take any position. Don't worry, and you won't miss out on anything. That is my promise. Your mind will tempt you and say, but what about my life? No, and she's just a child, so it's like I have my whole life in front of me. He's saying be open and empty, but I had plans. Nothing wrong will happen. It will not oppose life in any way. In fact, it is the most natural way to live. So don't worry ever about anything. Whichever sense of control you think you have, that you're giving up on, you've never had it in the first place. Never had it. Not 1 ounce of it. It was just a delusion. You that you think you are did not create the thought. You see, does not know how to take the action after the thought. It was all the decision making and all this stuff was all just made up. That which you think you are cannot predict the next thought also. So in what way is it doing? If it had an ambition, a plan, I want to rule the world, everybody wants to rule the world. So that plan. But how to go about it? That one has to wait for a thought to come. But can it produce the thought? Can't produce a thought, it doesn't know how to produce a thought. Okay, thought is come. Yeah? Okay, this is what I have to do. First I have to buy a building. Like that. If I'm going to rule the world, let's start with one building. So first I have to buy a building. Then how to act on that? Do you know how to move a finger? How to fire a neuron in the brain to move the finger? Does anyone know how to fire a neuron? Nobody knows. It's an illusion. So hand moves, so you say, yeah, I have moved my hand. Mouth says these words, yeah. It's making so much sense today. Very nice. It's all post-facto gibberish. It's all post-facto rubbish. None of it is true. So we are living in this story world, fantasy world, where we have not really deeply examined anything. And we just presume, I did like that, she told me this, he told me that, this is what happened, this is my story so far. What are you talking about? Am I just ranting about nothing for so long? Everybody's like, I know this stuff already.